Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash, Season 4. So just one quick thing to talk about before we move on to the rest of the video. The Flash is actually on break when it comes to February 13th. So the week before that, we'll have an episode of The Flash, but then the week of the February 13th, there will not be an episode of The Flash. That week will be a bit of a break, and then we'll come back next week for episode 14. So I have episode 13, then a week's break, and then episode 14 will poke its head out, say hello, and we'll get to enjoy another new episode of The Flash. From memory, I think Arrow is off that week as well, so it will just be Legends of Tomorrow, which is coming back that week, as well as Black Lightning continuing on its strong start, hopefully. But of course, as we move on through the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your different opinions on what I say throughout this video, as we are going to be talking about a bit of a theory, so let me know your opinions on it, and maybe some other theories that you have, just leave them all in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on it, and subscribe to the channel if you're new.
Yes, there's that delicious nectar. Hey, thanks for getting this coffee, by the way.
Oh, me? I'm broke.
I didn't even bring my wallet with me.
I don't even own a wallet.
Are you serious?
Alan always pays.
Oh my god.
No worries. Always pay it forward. That's my motto, you know? Because at any given moment, one of us could need a helping hand. Like now, you two, total strangers. You know we're short on cash, and then someone just steps out of the blue and helps out in a totally random way. Am I right?
Uh-huh.
And you know, it's more than just karma. It's the principle of infinite consequence at work in our lives. And it's always expanding, creating positive sums on an infinite basis. Isn't that amazing?
Yes?
You know what's amazing? That shirt's pretty amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's a classic. Oregon Trail. I love this game. Have a great day. Okay.
Is that where we freeze frame?
So one of the bigger mysteries that everyone watching The Flash this season is sort of dealing with revolves around the mysterious character we were introduced to in the Crisis on Earth X crossover, and to be specific, the Supergirl portion at the wedding between Barry and Iris. Jessica Parker Kennedy, who plays this mysterious character, was casted, obviously, before the crossover, but the news of her casting went online around a week roughly or so before the crossover, which led to a lot of speculation about who she was and what she was doing showing up. The one that essentially most people landed on before she even appeared in the crossover was that she would be playing one of the Tornado Twins, that being Dawn Allen, and the Tornado Twins are obviously Barry and Iris' children. The other pick that went around, which could still be the case but is the lesser likely of the two to actually happen, is that she is actually Jenny Ognatz, who is the granddaughter of Barry and Iris and the daughter of Dawn Allen. But since this first appearance in the crossover, we were left wondering where and when she would show up next, as well as what little teasers to who she could or would be displaying in that next appearance. Well, in the most recent episode of this season of The Flash, that being episode 11, we had an end credit scene of sorts which involved Ralph and Cisco at jitters going back and forth about who should be paying for their coffee, when Ralph says that Alan always pays, which then results in this mystery character paying for their coffee, paying it forward as she states. Obviously, this little moment is once again another nod that she is Dawn Allen, saying that she pays for the coffee as soon as Ralph does say that Alan always pays. But it is what follows that had everyone talking that watches The Flash, and that is when we see her writing away in a little journal or notebook of sorts, but we actually cut to a close shot of this journal and what the mystery character is writing in there. And what we see is that she is actually writing the Speedforce symbols, or just symbols, that we saw Barry writing everywhere back in episode 1 of this season, once he had escaped the Speedforce and his mind was all over the joint and he really wasn't making sense for the most part. You know, he was just like muttering random lines from the past and possibly the future as well. Had 30 seconds left to finish 30 questions. You would have to think it is extremely safe to assume that the symbols that he and this mystery character are writing down are directly connected to the Speedforce in some way, whether it be a language or just symbols that have other meanings. Or they could directly just link to time itself. That's another thing that they could mean. The other option is that it is a language of the future or possibly another dimension, similar to the Speedforce but different at the same time. I even brought up on Twitter that it could also be the language or representation in some way of the Age of Enlightenment that DeVoe was set on bringing forth. But we will come to DeVoe later on in the video, as he does relate to this topic in some way. So why is the mystery character, who we're just going to call Dawn from now on in this video because, well, that is who she most likely is, why is she writing down these symbols we saw Barry writing down earlier in the season? Well, it is pretty hard to tell, but you would have to guess at this point that she is just recording her interactions with people involved with Barry in his life, as well as just their day-to-day life events. So Barry's day-to-day life events, Iris's, and then like obviously Ralph and Cisco, and just her interactions personally, or the interactions that she notices. But in regards to how it all connects back to Barry, we are actually coming back to a point I brought up a few times earlier on in this season, mainly when we were talking about DeVoe and where his character could be heading this season, and this revolves around the question of, what if Barry has had the solution to defeating DeVoe this entire time as soon as he came out of the Speedforce? As I said, we saw Dawn at the end of last episode writing down the same language or symbols as Barry did in episode 1 after he escaped from the Speedforce in that little journal or handbook, whatever you want to call it. So my main theory around this is that it is a new language created in the future, a universal language of sorts, one that can easily be read by the majority of people that it is intended for. When Barry was trapped in the Speedforce, he would have seen various timelines going on at once, including his own, but also have the knowledge of the present and its happenings as well. This can be very hard to explain exactly just due to our limited knowledge of the Speedforce though, and how it exactly works. As we do know, there are some episodes coming up later this season which could possibly tap into that, and maybe us learning more about the Speedforce, but at this current time we can't really jump into that because, as I said, we have limited knowledge. But while trapped in the Speedforce, he would have seen the future and memorized this language, or even code if you want to call it that, and was able to retain enough of what he learnt in there to write what he wrote on those walls in that cell in Star Labs, as well as in the CCPD. Seeing as this would be from the future in some way, this would be a key to defeating DeVoe. Not the key, but a key to defeating DeVoe. We could also later this season see Barry along with the rest of Team Flash revisit the walls of the CCPD in that room that he was in once Cecile found him and brought everyone in, as well as the holding cell on the pipeline that Barry was in, and get those symbols that Barry was writing. Obviously, if they're not there anymore, which I don't think that CCPD room would have kept those symbols. I think they would have cleaned that up, but they can use security footage because I'm guessing they would have that, hopefully, and they might be able to get most of the symbols. And with the help of Dawn's notebook, Team Flash, you would think, would be able to learn how to read and decipher or decode it, or at least Barry would be able to if the others have difficulty. As I did say before, DeVoe is involved with these symbols. We did see in a few episodes that he had some of these symbols written down on either a blackboard or even on his computer. I'm pretty sure he had at one stage. Even on his goddamn face when he is the thinker, you can see little markings that you could make out as symbols of this language or code that Barry and Dawn have written down. So DeVoe knows of these symbols, but he might not necessarily know what they mean. Similar to us viewers at the time, he just might know that they mean something important, but he's just waiting for the time where he can decipher them and then add them to his plan. But as we know, DeVoe is planning ahead and has all that probability of events thing going on, and seems pretty confident that everything is lined up for him to only win, you know, and never lose. He's always going to win through his like planning of stages and stuff like that. Nothing ever sets out for him to lose. So you would have to think getting these symbols deciphered is a part of his plan. Whether Barry or Dawn get dragged into all of it, that is another question and topic itself, but his drive to succeed could actually lead to his downfall if he goes after this code or language, as it could lead to Team Flash learning exactly the right way to go down in regards to taking DeVoe down once and for all. The cerebral inhibitor is still something to be introduced this season. As we heard last season from Savitar, it is a key in taking DeVoe down, not necessarily what exactly defeats him, but it has a large role to play. So I don't really know if that could or would be connected to these symbols. I don't think it would, but whatever the symbols do reveal could be partnered with the cerebral inhibitor to lead to Defoe's defeat, might I say. One issue that could poke its head out with this theory revolves around time loops. If they bring this language or coding from the future and use it in the present, won't that change what's going on in the future? Like, it would be pretty similar to last season with the Savitar situation, like another whole like which came first, the chicken or the egg, that whole dilemma. So yeah, that's one issue, but then again, last season they just did sort of like sweep that under the rug. So it really wouldn't surprise me if they just did that again if this theory does play out, or something similar to this. So that's one issue they could face, but for now, that's their thing to worry about, not ours. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on what I talked about in this video. Were some parts that would have been a bit confusing to listen over like the once. So if you do have any questions in regards to anything I said in this video, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you down there. But also, as always, just leave your general opinions and thoughts down there. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys, and goodbye.